In this video, I'm gonna give you 5 layouts that you can steal right now and start using for your own Go Ahead Level websites. I'm also gonna show you real examples and how I would build those in Go Ahead Level. Okay, so let's talk about hero sections. So I'm going to show you 3 variations of different hero sections that you can create in Go Ahead Level. I've noticed a trend towards more minimalist design and just stuff that is clean, isn't cluttered, and so this one is a good example. So you have headline, sub-headline, very easy to understand. It tells you exactly what this website is about, a couple buttons for a call to action or talking to the sales. And something really cool that they included was the graphic that you can see it above the fold, which makes me want to check out the rest of the website. To create this in Go Ahead Level, you could do this super simple. You could have a navigation menu bar up here, a button on this side, headline, sub-headline, call to action, and then you would have your graphic down here. So this is super simple to build in Go Ahead Level and it looks awesome. Now another simple variation of a hero section that works is having an awesome graphic on one side, headline, and then sub headline on the other. And if you wanted to see it, how we would build this in Go Ahead Level, again, 2 column row side by side, headline on this side, and then a photo or GIF on the other side. And then the third idea for an awesome hero section would be something like this, where you have the text on top of your background, which could be a GIF or a video. And so this is something that you can do in Go Ahead Level as well. You could round off the edges, give it some padding, just like here. And then you could have an awesome creative hero section. When it comes to services, I don't like complicating it too much. What I've noticed is one of 2 ways people usually do their services. So the first version that I've seen is like this one, where you have text on one side, call to action, and then on the other side you have a graphic, a video supporting that text of the service or the feature if you're selling Go Ahead Level SaaS. And another take of that same style, where you have a graphic on one side, you have your text on the other side. It just makes sense. Now this one is pretty much the same thing, 2 sections side by side, graphic on one side, text on the other. Another way that you could show this, which is also simple, you can build in Go Ahead Level, and I think it looks very clean, is where you have 2 sections side by side. So you could have 2 graphics, 2 photos, cool background as well, and then some text to go along with the services. I've also done this in Go Ahead Level. You can see this one, like this one example that we have, where we have the 2 sections side by side. So you have text, sub headline, and a graphic. Okay, so another feature that you might want to include in your Go Ahead Level websites is just like highlights. And so if you wanted to highlight specific features about your SaaS, specific features about your agency, this would be the way to do it. So example number 1, you have 3 cards, you have text, the highlight that you want to do, and then more info about it. Super simple. These could be graphics or a GIF, the way they have it right here. And then I'm going to show you another version of this that I just recently saw, like super simple, but if you didn't want to have cards, you could just do it like this. Another version of this where you have 3 highlights, and then if you want to learn more and you hover, it changes color and you can click on it. This is done with custom effects, but you can also do this as well. If you have a Notion doc or if you've seen some of our tutorials, you can do this inside of Go Ahead Level as well. And another idea, if you wanted to go the more minimalistic way, where you have an awesome clean graphic and just text and nothing else, where you're having, like, let's say unlimited data for your 150 countries. If you wanted to do this in Go Ahead Level, it's just a 3 column row. You could have like quick highlights and then just throw it in your website in any of the ways that I just showed you, and I think it would look awesome. What this looks like in Go Ahead Level is just a 3 column row, and then you could play around with, so if you go in advanced, you could have a box shadow like the one I have right here, or you could do something like the other websites that I was showing you, that they have different background colors that you could play around with. But this is definitely doable in Go Ahead Level, and that's just how we would go about it. Okay, so let me show you some ways you can do your pricing. So whether you're a Go Ahead Level SaaS agency, you might have a pricing that looks something like this, or you could be an agency owner that has different packages for your clients. So I wanted to include this one because traditionally you always have the columns kind of showing them apart, but it's just a more subtle take on pricing, and just wanted to show you that idea. Another very typical way of doing pricing when it comes to SaaS and softwares is where you have your columns. They have the similar structure, but they just have different features, different pricings. You could do something like this as well. And let me show you how we would go about this in Go Ahead Level. So if I take a look at one of the websites that we've built, this would be again a 3 column row. So you go here, add the elements, it would be 3 rows. You'd have 3 pricings side by side. You have your text, sub headline. Something that you might want to do that a lot of people do in their pricing is you have the tier that has all the features, and then you can change the color of the text to show that these are not included in the cheaper plans. So you can see that by choosing the cheaper package, you're missing out on these features and so on. So that's just a few examples and ideas of how I would do pricing in Go Ahead Level. Okay, so this last section might be underrated and a lot of people don't include it in their websites, but I wanted to show you some ideas as to how you can start incorporating these into your websites. And so if you scroll to the bottom of the footer, a lot of websites have this section right before the footer. So this one right here would be that section I'm talking about. A lot of times it looks like this, like one section where you have text, a cool graphic, and then a CTA. Why I think a lot of websites do it is because if somebody reaches the bottom of the website, they're probably engaged, they're probably curious, and they want to check out their services or buy the product. And so by having just that one call to action at the very bottom, you might increase your conversions. Let me show you another example. So if we scroll down all the way, we're gonna see something similar where at the very bottom, again, a call to action, very clear. So if somebody checked out the whole website, we have this container right here. I believe we've done this tutorial in one of our videos, so check it out. You can also do this inside of Go Ahead Level. And most importantly, you have start a free trial. So that call to action that I was talking about. Another one that I saw was this one, which is slightly different. So if I scroll down all the way to the bottom, you have this section right here, which takes up the entire width of the section. You can also do this in Go Ahead Level, and then you have your call to action right here. And then finally, if you wanted to do a more subtle call to action at the very bottom, you don't have to show the container, but it just kind of blends in from the previous section. So this, I believe, was an FAQ, but it blends in, and then you have your final thing, which is apply or contact them. So how I would build this in Go Ahead Level would look something like this. If I actually build this in Go Ahead Level, so let me just show you what that looks like. So you'll see like at the very bottom, right before the footer, we have our call to action. Super simple. It's just one section. We wanted to make this slightly darker than the other one so it stands out, and then very simple. One section, one column, headline, sub headline, and then a call to action. That's it. So if somebody wanted to start their 14-day trial, they saw the entire landing page, then they can just click get started. Very easy, very simple. So as you're watching this video, you're probably thinking to yourself, a lot of the website looks kind of similar layouts, similar sections, and they're not overly complicated. And I think that's part of the answer itself, is if we know the sections that we're building, we have an idea of the layout, we don't have to overcomplicate things. So there it is. I hope this gave you some inspiration to build awesome websites. And if you want to check out our templates that are ready to go, you don't want to build your own websites yourself, click the first link in bio, and I'll see you on my next video.